Dear friends, you are watching the second part of the lesson on saying please. This part contains paragraph number 3 and 4. This does not mean that the damages are negligible. In the first part, the writer said that there is no compensation or allowance for moral or intellectual damages. Here, according to writer, this does not mean that the damages are negligible, means small or unimportant. It is probable that the liftman was much more acutely hurt by what he regarded as a slur upon his social standing than he would have been if he had a kick on the shins, for which he could have got a legal redress. The liftman threw the passenger out of the lift because he was acutely hurt, means extremely hurt. He thought it as a slur. Slur means insult upon his social standing. And this was a severe damage that he experienced because he thought that his social standing was unimportant to others. The damage he faced was much more for him than he would have been if he had a kick on the shins. Kick on the shins means physical damage. See the word shins. Shins means front part of a leg below the knees. If he had a kick on the shins, he could have got compensation for it. See the word redress. Redress means compensation. The pain of a kick on the shins soon passes away, but the pain of a wound to our self respect or our vanity may poison a whole day. The person may forget the pain of a kick on the shins as it soon vanishes or passes away, but it is impossible for a person to forget the pain of a wound to his self respect or vanity. Vanity means pride. It's a serious wound or injury and it may disturb him the whole day. I can imagine that liftman denied the relief of throwing the author of his wound out of the lift, brooding over the insult by the hour, and visiting his wife in the evening as the only way of restoring his equilibrium. Why did the liftman throw the passenger out of the lift? Because he wanted to get relief from it. If he did not throw him out of the lift, that feeling or wound would have disturbed him the whole day. Brooding over means thinking anxiously or sadly about something. And he might behave very badly to his wife in the evening to restore his equilibrium. Equilibrium means balance. So, how would have the liftman restored his equilibrium? He would have restored his balance or equilibrium by brooding over the insult and behaving rudely to his wife in the evening. So he threw the passenger out of the lift. He did this not to brood over the insult and to meet his wife happily at home. He wanted not to disturb his happy family life. For there are few things more catching than bad temper and bad manners. According to the writer, bad temper and bad manners are more catching things than other crimes. The word catching means infectious, that is tending to be transmitted from one person to another. Just like we are facing the pandemic of COVID-19 nowadays. See how the writer explains it. When Sir Anthony Absolute bullied Captain Absolute, the latter went out and bullied his man, Fag. Whereupon Fag went out downstairs and kicked the page boy. Here the writer gives an amusing example of Sir Anthony Absolute from The Rivals, which is a comedy by Sheridan. Here Sir Anthony Absolute bullied Captain Absolute. Bullied means threatened or hurt or frightened someone. Then Captain Absolute bullied his servant Fag. Fag went out and kicked the page boy. In this way, Sir Anthony Absolute threatened or insulted Captain Absolute. Captain Absolute insulted his servant Fag. Then his servant Fag insulted the page boy. In this way, if one person behaves badly to the second person behaves badly to the third person, it will continue from person to person. Probably the man who said talk to the liftman was really only getting back on his employer who had not said good morning to him because he himself had been henpecked at breakfast by his wife, to whom the cook had been insolent because the housemaid had answered her back. See what would have happened to the passenger who said top to the liftman. The passenger behaved rudely because he was hurt by his employer, that is his boss, who had not said good morning to him. The boss was insulted by his wife. He had been henpecked, means bullied by his wife. The wife was insulted by the cook, who had been insolent, that is rude or not showing respect. The cook was insulted by the housemaid who had answered her back. This is like a chain that the bad manners infect the society from one person to another. We infect the world with our ill humors. Bad manners probably do more poison to the stream of general life than all the crimes in the calendar. We infect the world with our ill humors. According to the writer, bad manners are more poisonous than all the crimes in the calendar. All the crimes in the calendar means criminal calendar, that is the list of the criminal cases to be called in the court on a particular time and date. So, the infection of bad manners passes from one person to another, and it is more dangerous and serious than other crimes. For one wife who gets a black eye from an otherwise good-natured husband, there are 100 who live a life of martyrdom under the shadow of a morose temper. We see domestic violence around us. A wife who gets a black eye, that is eye injury, from her good natured husband. But there are many women who live a life of martyrdom. See, the word martyrdom means suffering or death of a martyr. So there are many women who live a life of martyrdom by their bad tempered husband. Morose temper means bad tempered person. Here, the writer wants to say that one single crime damages very few things, but the domestic violence and bad behavior or manners damage many households. But all the same, the law cannot become the guardian of our private manners. The law cannot become the guardian, that is protector of our private manners. No decalogue could cover the vast area of offences, and no court could administer a law which govern our social civilities, our speech, the tilt of our eyebrows, and all our moods and manners. There is no decalogue that could cover the vast area of offenses, telling the people about what you should do or what you shouldn't do. There is no court that could administer, that means manage, a law which govern our social civilities. Civilities means politeness, which govern our speech, the tilt, that is movement of our eyebrows, and all our moods and manners. But though we are bound to endorse the verdict against the liftman, most people will have a certain sympathy for him. The liftman has committed a crime and he must be punished for that. So it is our duty to endorse. Endorse means to support. The verdict. Verdict means judgment given against the liftman. We should endorse, we should support the verdict against the liftman. But most people will have sympathy for the liftman. While it is true that there is no law that compels us to say please, there is a social practice much older and much more sacred than any law which enjoins us to be civil. No law forces us to say please. But why do we say such words like please, thank you? Because in our society there is a social practice which is older and sacred than any law, which enjoins means encourages us to be civil. That social practice encourages us to be civil or polite or good mannered. And the first requirement of civility is that we should acknowledge a service. Please and thank you are the small change with which we pay our ways as social beings. But what is the first requirement of a civility? The first requirement of a civility is that we should acknowledge, means accept a service by saying the words like please or thank you. We should say please or thank you to others. According to a writer, these words are little courtesies. See, I am reading. They are the little courtesies by which we keep the machines of life oiled and running sweetly. These words are little courtesies which keep the machine of life oiled and running sweetly. Our life becomes smooth, sweet, interesting, happy because of these words. These are the small things that keep the human beings closely linked with each other. They put our intercourse upon the basis of a friendly cooperation, an easy give and take instead of on the basis of superiors dictating to inferiors. These words like please and thank you put our intercourse means communication or conversation, on the basis of friendly cooperation and an easy give and take. We can exchange our views, we can exchange our thoughts easily and with friendly cooperation, and not on the basis of superiors dictating or giving orders to inferiors. It is a very vulgar mind that would wish to command, where he can have the service for asking and have it with willingness and good feeling instead of a resentment. Only a vulgar mind means rude or indecent person. Only a vulgar mind would wish to command others and expect people will listen to him with willingness and good feelings and without resentment. Without resentment means without anger. If we expect something from others, we should show our politeness. Then and then we will get it with willingness and good feelings instead of resentment.